What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Broadway Joel, the voice of Dominican boxing, and today we will be interviewing legendary referee. Uh, this man has been a part of so many big fights, and we're gonna talk about some of those big fights once he hops on. But we're gonna be interviewing Joe Cortez. He is a native New Yorker, just like myself. He refereed fights like Oscar De La Hoya versus Julio Cesar Chavez, the first one. He also did Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao, the first one. He did the first Riddick Bowe Lennox Lewis fight, a bunch of Mike Tyson fights. The list goes on and on. This guy is an absolute legend. He's a big part of history, and a lot of people don't know too much about his life story. So, as you guys know, I like to do my interviews a bit biographical. I think he's a very interesting person in boxing history. So, I definitely wanted to document his story. He'll be joining us soon. I sent him the link not long ago. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us sometime soon. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for this interview. It's something different. A lot of people like to interview fighters and promoters and managers. Uh, and I kind of started the trend now of when I interview Jim Lampley, an announcer, all of a sudden everybody else is starting announcing, interviewing him, which is good for him. I also interviewed Al Bernstein, and now we're gonna try interviewing a referee. And this one again, he's tied to so much history in boxing. So we'll get into it. Also, as I do my research, as I like to pride myself, I found a few interesting stuff that I want to discuss with him. So let's see when he can hop on let's get this popping, man. It's been a while since I've been really really excited for an interview. This is one of them. Let me give him a call. Hopefully he's available. Just give me one sec, guys. Okay. All right, no problem. All right, so good news. He's trying to figure out how to work it, so he's gonna hop on soon. So uh in the meanwhile, we can discuss uh we can discuss this Saturday's fight between Canelo Alvarez and Jermel Charlo. That's an undisputed versus undisputed fight. This is a fight that many are anticipating, many are looking forward to, and it has a really good undercard, man. Like that, uh, it has Jose Armando Resendez fighting Elijah Garcia, two offensive fighters, one Mexican American, one Mexican. I think this has potential of being fight of the year. Uh, these guys are going to trade blows. I could see one dominating the other, like where they're exchanging blows, and well, one guy just got too much power for the other guy and they dominate. But I can also see this fight going, no, this is like, oh, you think you're tough? I'm tough too. All right, you want to trade? I can trade too. All right, you want to punch? I want to punch too. I can definitely see that in that fight. I am picking Jose Armando Resendez. I'm picking an upset, believe it or not. A lot of people are very high on Elijah Garcia. I just think he bit off a little bit more than he can chew. He is only 20 years old, so he's not quite there with his man strength. And you fighting this rough, crazy, Mexican who's, likes a brawl. I interviewed him for those of you who haven't seen that interview where he said, like, no, he looks forward to a fight. He looks forward to a brawl. He looks forward to exchanging punches. So that, uh, one sec, guys. All right, guys. Sorry, he's having a little bit trouble with the link. So I'm trying to help him out here. We'll get this figured out. All right. We'll get this figured out. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Elijah Garcia, Jose Armando Resendez fight. Again, I think this is the fight that may steal the show. This may be the most violent fight, but it also could be not a star-making performance. And hey, you know what? I'm not even gonna leave that off the table. It could be a star-making performance because it's on a big undercard. It's on a Canelo undercard. So if Elijah Garcia dominates and stops Resendez, to me, that will be making a statement. And I will have him as my one of the top guys to watch at 160. Oh, all right. I have here legendary Joe Cortez. How are you doing, sir?
All right, buddy. Everything good, buddy?
All right. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for I'm not sure what's happening. I'm getting some like feedback. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah. Hello? All right.
You hear me now?
No, I can hear you, but when I talk, I kind of hear some feedback. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah. Let me see. All right, there we go. Perfect. Oh, no, still. All right, we'll make it work anyways. We'll make it work. All right. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for hopping on and giving me your time. For I want to start off with your history. First of all, where you came from and all that. So I'll ask some questions about that, and then we'll get into your your Hall of Fame refereeing career.
Okay.
So first, you're of Puerto Rican descent, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah. And were you born there or were you born in New York?
I was born in Spanish Harlem, New York.
Okay. And you were born in the 40s, correct?
Correct.
Why'd your parents decide to come to America from Puerto Rico? What was the circumstances there?
Well, I guess they wanted. I guess like everybody else, they wanted a better life, so they figured New York was the place, and that's where they came to.
And were there a lot of Puerto Ricans back then? Because the 40s was, I'm not sure. Were you? Was that a lot of Puerto Ricans,
Yes.
or were you one
There's
of
a
the
lot
first
of Puerto
ones
Ricans in our neighborhood. Yes.
What was
in
that?
Barrio.
Oh, okay. What was Spanish Harlem like in the 40s and the 50s?
Well, it's like it is today. The thing it was mainly only Puerto Ricans back then. Then the Dominicans started coming in, and then everybody else started coming in after that.
Okay, so since it was mostly Puerto Ricans, there wasn't a lot of racism there.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, all right. I know you won 2 or 3 Golden Gloves. I couldn't confirm with how many Golden Gloves exact New York Golden Gloves.
I won the 2 New York Golden Gloves. Then I won 2 Spanish Golden Gloves. Then I won the Eastern Golden Glove. And I won the National Golden Gloves. For a total of 6 Golden Glove champions.
How'd you get into boxing?
There was a fighter by the name of Paulinho Ortega who came to my neighborhood back in the mid-50s. And he came from Tijuana. He was living on 99th Street Park in Madison, where I was raised in. I was born 98th Street. I was raised on 99th Street. And Gaspar Ortega and the brother Felix came to New York, and they were next door neighbors. That's how it all started.
Okay, and he took you to the gym, or you saw him and then put yourself in the
Well,
gym?
I used to take him to the gym because he didn't know how to get there because they were lost. They came from Tijuana. They didn't know how to get. They didn't know where the subway station were at. I had to take him to the gym down on 55th Street and 8th Avenue. But they didn't know how to get to Steelman's Gym, was the gym at the time. I took him there. I was interpreting for them in Spanish. So I was the interpreter for them. They speak Spanish. I spoke Spanish and English. So I would help them out with that. And that's how it all started. Then I got into boxing when I was 15 years of age. I joined the Boys Club along with my brother Mike. And we won the Golden Gloves in 1960, 1 year later. Then I won the Spanish Golden Gloves that year as well. Then I won the next year, I won the Open Golden Glove Championship. Then I won the Spanish Golden Glove Championships again. Then I won the Eastern Golden Glove Championships. And then the National Golden Glove Championship. And then I turned pro when I was 18.
So you had an illustrious amateur career. Why didn't you try to like compete in the Olympics or something, nothing like that? Did you
Well,
try?
my trainer said, no, don't waste your time. Let go pro. I turned pro when I was 18.
Is there
And
any was there any regret? Like, damn, I kind of wish I would have fought in the Olympics or at least tried. Was there any regret on your end?
no regrets. Everything worked out for a reason. So I'm happy the way everything worked
Okay.
out. Everything worked out good.
BoxRec has your record as 13-1, and I heard you say that wasn't accurate. What was the actual record?
It's 18. I had some fights in Mexico that were not recorded. But, I only lost one fight. I was in George Foster in Madison Square Garden in 1963.
Okay, and that's a pretty good record, 13-1. Why did you decide to stop boxing professionally?
I got a good record, but it was an opportunity for me coming up. So I decided to pack it in early. I made a comeback in 71. And then I won the fight, but I said, you know what? I'm going to pack it in. I had moved to Puerto Rico. I was working in the hospitality business with the Uncle Kids to the hotel in Fajardo, Puerto Rico.
I don't know what's going on with your mic.
Then
Your microphone sounds. I'm not sure if you did anything with it.
Something with the line there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. You want to hop out and hop back in? I'm not sure. You sound very staticky.
I hear a lot of static going on right there.
No,
Okay, now.
No, I hear a lot of static. I'm not sure.
Good.
How about this? I'm gonna take you out and then jump back in. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. Sorry. I'm pretty sure you guys heard the static too. I was hearing it from the beginning, but it wasn't as bad. It got a little bit bad at the end. Trying to get you guys the best quality audio and video that I can possibly get you guys. So Joe will be joining us back again in shortly. Hopefully we'll get that squared away. But yeah, man, it's interesting so far. I wanted to ask him, which I guess I'll ask him when he gets back, when he was like how he met a fighter, he was taking him down to the gym and he was translating for him. And that's kind of how he got into boxing. But what I want to know now, when he comes back, is how did he get that job of taking this pro fighter down and to the gym and back and translating? Like, how did he meet this fighter that they entrusted him in being the translator as well as his guide to get into the gym and getting back? So, yeah, we'll see when he gets back. I definitely want to ask him that. And there's a lot we haven't gotten into. We're just getting to the start right now. It's you guys will see how the interview will get a lot more interesting in a few moments once he gets back, which he's back right now. All right. Hello, you hear me? Oh, not sure what happened there. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I'm sure he'll be back in a few minutes. Kind of just dropped out. I'm not sure if he's just in a bad reception area, because once he came back, I did hear some kind of static. I'm not sure what's going on. He might be close to. I don't know where his cell phone is close. It might be close to something that's like a radio or something, or walkie-talkie that's causing interference. So if and when when he comes back, I'll say I'll let him. I'll ask him if he has a radio or a walkie-talkie nearby that's interfering with the static, because yeah, we trying to get a good audio and visual for you guys. But yeah, well, while we wait for him, we already discussed Elijah Garcia versus Jose Armando Resendez. Another fight that it's on the card. I'm not so sure it's going to be the most entertaining fight, but it's one where I'm also picking the underdog, and that's Mario Barrios versus Yordenis Ugas. Listen, if this was Yordenis Ugas that fought Sean Porter, I would be picking Ugas, no doubt. But this guy's coming off a year and a half layoff, had his eye socket broken, is 37 years old. Yeah, and like I don't know how motivated he is in terms of when you get to that age and you've been through that wear and tear, and you get what I'm saying, and you facing Mario Barrios, who has power. Mario Barrios, if you look at his knockout percentage, and on top of that, add with the people he's dropped a lot of. Even though a lot of people like to say that they robbed Akhmadov in his fight with uh, uh, um, Akhmadov with his fight with Barrios, but he got dropped twice too. You know what I'm saying? Like Barrios, maybe not the most skilled, but he definitely got pop in them hands. And the fact that this guy's coming off a year and a half layoff, so that's a parlay I'm doing. Resendez and Barrios. That's a parlay I'm doing. I want to see, and this is not one of those parlays where I'm just kind of like, oh, I just want to bet, just to see, who knows if it hits. It'll just, it's low risk. And no, it's like, no, these are two fights I'm actually predicting. I'm actually predicting two upsets in both those fights. So I'm definitely picking Barrios and Jose Armando Resendez. Another undercard fight that's on that Canelo Charlo fight is Lubin versus Jesus Ramos. I was at Lubin's last fight. He looked very, very impressive, showed great footwork, and got the stoppage. I thought the stoppage was, I don't even want to say a little quick. It was a bit quick, you know what I'm saying? But he looked good. He looked good, and he looked motivated. He didn't take much punishment, which he has in the past, like getting knocked out cold by Charlo, going to war and getting stopped by Sebastian Fundora. So these are tough fights that he had, and so now he's going into a fight with Jesus Ramos, another tough young guy. And Ramos is like 22, 23. He's a young guy, has a lot of power, has good wins. That Joey Spencer was undefeated for whatever it's worth. And then he also beat Brian Mendoza, if we're not, so we got to give him credit. I got Ramos by knockout, man. No disrespect to Lubin. I think he actually is a talented fighter, but I think Ramos is a younger, hungrier fighter. And the fact that Lubin has been beat up before like that, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to withstand that kind of punishment. Let me text Joe. Make sure everything is okay. All right, we'll see. I just text him. Let's hopefully he'll hop back on. But yeah, on to the main event with Canelo and Charlo. Listen, I'm rooting for Charlo. I'm open about my bias. I'm rooting for Charlo. Joan Guzman is an assistant trainer. I do want, he has been working with him for a long time. I don't know if you guys remember the first time I interviewed Joan Guzman. He was in Texas already training them. And that was like in May or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So the guy's been out there for a while. He did come back to New York for like a couple of weeks, and then he flew right back to Texas, and now he's in training camp. And you guys saw when he hopped on recently, he was saying how good he's looking and how he's dropping guys and doing all this stuff. So we'll see. Listen, I want Charlo to win, but I'm not picking him. I'm picking Canelo Alvarez to win. I do think that his left hook, specifically to the head, is something Charlo's gonna have trouble with. But you know, especially also, by the way, he's moving up in weight. This guy Charlo, he's moving up 2 weight classes. That's significant. You know, 14 pounds is not, you know, it's not something that's you know, a lot. Like, yeah, you know, you as a person, you can gain 14 pounds easy, but this is boxing. You know, when people miss weight, it's by 1 pound. They don't go, oh, it's just 1 pound. They acknowledge that there's a significance. Now you're telling me 14 and you've never fought past 154. You never even fought somebody at 155. At least nobody of note. Maybe coming up, like he had those a couple fights, but like I'm talking about since he started fighting 10 rounders. If I'm not mistaken, all his fights been at 54. So your first fight at 168, skipping 160, is against Canelo Alvarez. That's something I can't ignore. Also, Canelo has all this experience, a lot of experience. He's seen every style, from the slick Cuban southpaw to the aggressive James Kirkland style to, you know, he's seen everything. And, you know, I just think that experience and punching power would be too much, specifically when you consider this guy moving up 2 weight classes. Also, but there is like that, how do I say, variable of, okay, what about if Canelo is washed? You know, if he's washed, like that's you know, he has not looked good in his last 3 fights. Last 3 fights, he has not looked good. He fought Triple G. He ain't look good in that fight. I thought he was gonna get a stoppage. And not that Triple G was, you know, an easy guy to stop. This guy got a chin, but I just figured he's dipped enough where Canelo could take this guy out of there, and he couldn't. He couldn't even drop him. Same thing with the John Ryder fight. He dropped him, but I thought he was gonna knock John Ryder out. You know what I'm saying? The Bivol fight, I forgive him. He did not look good. Don't get me wrong, and I predicted him to win. But leading into that fight, and y'all could check the videos, I was like, man, this is a 50-50 fight. This is not no fight where it's like, oh, you know, I was picking Canelo and it's going to be easy work. No. I was like, this is a 50-50 fight. Anybody could win, but I'm picking Canelo. And it was everything but a 50-50 fight. This was a clear, dominant decision by Canelo Alvarez. Hold on, fellas. Let me call Joe and see what's going on, because kind of want to get this interview going. All right, good news. He's just he's trying to get back on. I'm assuming he's having trouble fixing the static noise, but he just said he'll hop back on, so that's all that matters. But yeah, getting back to Canelo, is he fading? And is he fading? Can Charlo take advantage of that? And then also another variable. Then there's a lot of variables to this. Yo, Charlo's coming off what, a year and a half with no fight. You moving up 2 weight classes. It's tough. It's tough. All right,
We are.
all right. There we go. All right. So I wanted to, you had mentioned that you got into boxing because there was a professional fighter that moved over to the Upper West Side, and you was helping him get back and forth to the gym and translating for him.
That's correct.
How did you get that relationship with him? Why were you appointed to taking him back and forth and translating for him?
He moved right next door to my building. When he moved next door to me, we became friends. Became friends, and then he said, "Do you know how to get to the gym at 51st Street and 8th Avenue?" I told him, "Sure." I showed him. I'll take him. That's how we all started the relationship.
And how
Gaspar Indio Ortega, he passed away 2 years ago. His son Mike Ortega is a referee today. I got his son into boxing, Mike Ortega.
Hmm.
And I met Gaspar Ortega when I was 12 years old, and he just ended it when he passed away 2 years ago.
So you were 12 years old taking this grown man back and forth on the
He was not,
train?
he was 19 years old when he came to New York, and he didn't know how to get around. He came to New York. He didn't know how to get to the gym, and he had the address. I was like, I know how to get there. On 51st and 8th Avenue. I used to live on 99th Street. So 96th Street, Lexington Avenue was the closest station to my house. So I would take him down to 55th Street and take the crosstown to 8th Avenue and walk down to 51st Street and 8th.
Okay, okay. You still sound like a New Yorker. I know you live in Vegas, but you still sound like a New Yorker. You look like you know how to take the train still.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I can.
All right. So we left off that you had a decent career. You only had one loss. The question where we kind of fell off the connection was why did you decide to stop being a professional fighter and not keep pursuing?
Well, I got married. I had two girls at the time, and I decided that I wasn't making any money in boxing. I was only a bantamweight, and back in the 60s, there was no money in the bantamweight. I said I got myself a real job. Then I got myself a career in the hospitality business, and I started working for the Outside One Hotel Corporation in Puerto Rico. That's how I started. That's where I met a gentleman by the name of Pat Masher, who was a guest at the hotel. He says he saw my name on the billboard. He said, "Are you one of the Cortez brothers in New York?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "I used to referee your fights when you were fighting in Madison Square Garden." So then he was the guest at the hotel, and he's the one that planted the seed in my head about becoming a referee. So a year later, I moved back to New York in December of 76. In 77, I called him up. I said, "Pat, I'm back in New York." He said, "Yeah, Joe, why don't you get involved in the amateurs as a referee?" So he got me started with the Police Athletic League from Webster Avenue up in the Bronx. And Johnny Defoe was the director of the boxing program. He gave me a start. And 6 months into the game, I was already doing the championship fights in Madison Square Garden. And the New York State Athletic Commission, I named a gentleman by the name of Frank Morris, Deputy Commissioner Frank Morris, called me and said, "Joe, I was watching you the other night, last week, fighting at the fights, and you were doing two championship fights, the Golden Glove finals. I like the way you worked." He said, "I want to turn you pro." I said, "I just started refereeing 6 months ago. Don't waste your time in the amateurs, Joe. I want to turn you pro." I said, "Am I going to be getting any work?" He said, "I promise you, you'll be working every card, the 4 rounders and 6 rounders to get you started, and we'll take it from there." That's how it all started back in 1977. BoxRec got me starting in 79. And BoxRec missed 2 years of all my fights that I refereed. I started pro in 77, to 78 and 79. In 1982 was when I did my first world title fight in Atlantic City. That was Aaron Pryor and Miguel Montilla. And my dream was to do one world title fight. And I was blessed when I retired from boxing as a referee. In 2012, I retired with 176 championship fights under my belt.
That's impressive. Before we get into your pro refereeing career, I saw an article where it said that there was like, I think it was the finals of the Golden Glove, and it was a snowstorm, and none of the referees showed up, but all the fighters did. And
Right.
you were stuck refereeing, I think it was like 27 fights or something like that.
You're right, correct. That was in Brooklyn, New York. There's a big snowstorm in New York, and no referee showed up. Some judges showed up. Most of the fighters got there, but no referee, so I was the only referee. They said, "Joe, you're stuck with 27 fights tonight." All right, so I did 27 fights, and they were like, some now they're beginners, and fight lasted 1 round, 2 rounds, they were over. Most of the fights ended up by me stopping the fights. And but I did 27 fights that night, and that was the beginning of my experience as a referee. They said, "You want to be a referee, Joe? Yeah, you got a good taste of it tonight." I said, "Yeah, I sure did."
Well, after the 27 fights, were you like covered in blood or sweaty, or what was how
Yeah,
are you?
yeah. There was a lot of blood on my T-shirt. I had a PAL T-shirt, actually. Yeah, well, I say it was it was a Golden Glove, so it was regular shirt, and yeah, I was all full of blood, and I was kind of tired, but I said, but I love that. I said, this is great. I love it. This is what I want to do.
Okay. At what moment at at what moment did you realize like no, this is what I want to do? Like all right, I was having fun with it. I was kind of figuring out if I liked it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. At what point did you
Well,
decide?
what happened was that there was a lot of fighters in the Golden Gloves. A lot of young kids getting hurt, and I don't want to see fighters getting hurt. I said, I can. My job is to protect people. I always want to help people out. So I said, this is my calling. I want to help these young fighters. Don't let them take unnecessary punishment. And that's what I did. I was protecting the fighters. Then I got to like. I said, I think I can do this. I liked it. It was a lot of fun working in the ring. I used to love to dance a lot. I was a good salsa dancer. So in the ring, moving around the ring for me was easy. It was like dancing like dancing. It was moving all over that ring. And people said, Joe, man, you can move in that ring real good. You got good ring mechanics. And being the next fighter, that helped me, to anticipate when somebody's hurt. You got to get ready in position to get ready to stop the fight. So it was a learning process the first couple of years. You know, as a beginner, as a professional referee, I learned a lot the first few years. And my dream was to do one world title fight, like I mentioned before. I got called to do Iron Prime against Montilla in Atlantic City in 1982, and that was the beginning. I had a great time. I said to myself, "Wow, this is what I wanted to do: one world championship fight." Before you know it, they started calling me on a regular basis. I got licensed in New Jersey. I was licensed in New York. Then I got licensed by the World Boxing Association, and then WBA, and then little by little, I joined the WBC. Then the WBO, the IBF came around. I joined them as well. Then I joined WBO. Now I'm doing championship fights not only in New York and in New Jersey, but all over the world. Then next thing you know, I get a call from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. They say, "Joe, we'd like to bring you out to Vegas to do some fights, and but but you have to be a resident to be refereeing fights here." So they gave me a taste. In my first experience in Las Vegas was as a judge. 'Cause my first 10 years as a professional referee, there was only two judges, and the referee was the third judge, as
Hmm.
besides being a referee as well. So I was judging and refereeing at the same time. So they called me out to Vegas. They said, "Joe, you're going to be judging the Michael Spinks and Larry Holmes fight, the rematch." And that was
Wow.
the beginning of my fights in Las Vegas. So I remember two judges gave it to Spinks, and I was the only one that gave it to Holmes. And the people were booing like crazy. I thought, "Oh my God, they're booing me," because I was by myself. The commission said, "No, Joe, I'm sorry, they're not booing you. They're booing the other two guys. You did a good job. You were the one who had it right." So anyway, it was a
Mm.
controversial decision, and Larry Holmes lost the second time to Michael Spinks, and then they called me out to do another fight, uh, Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, the third fight, and that was my second world title fight in Las Vegas. But as a judge, they said, "Joe, you got to be a resident. You become a resident, you be refereeing fights like that, like Richard Steele and Mills Lane." It took a little while for me to make a move come out to Vegas. About a year or so, I made a move. Then in 1992, I came out to Vegas. I made the official move out here.
Okay. Okay. How different Las Vegas was than New York? How different? Oh, uh, Joe. I don't know if he's. I don't know if the connection is something
The rest
wrong
is
with the.
history.
Oh, okay. Joe, do you hear me? I don't know if I don't know what's going on with the connection. We were going so good. I'm not sure what's going on. Uh, yeah, it shows Joe frozen here. Man, the interview was going so well. Joe, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're frozen on my screen here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, it's not on my end. At least I don't think so. Joe, if you can hear me, let me know. Let me know. Maybe I should text. Oh, well, there you go. Hopefully he'll be right back. Hopefully he'll be right back. Man, that was so interesting. By the way, a quick little tidbit. He said his first fight he ever wrestled, championship fight he ever wrestled. Oh, all right, he's back here. There you go. Oh,
Okay.
all
Here
right.
we are again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure what happened, but we're back. We're back. That's what that matters. I just want to let the people know. Most of my fans are Dominican. The first fight you ever ref Aaron Pryor versus Miguel Montilla. Miguel Montilla is actually Dominican. I don't know if you knew that or if the public knew, but so that's a little bit of Dominican history as far as part of your journey. And
I don't know. I don't
also
know.
your last professional fight was against a Dominican as well. Hello.
Correct. Salah
Mm-hmm.
Chappelle.
Yeah.
Salah Chappelle, 1971, I believe it
Okay,
was.
okay. So, what would you consider your best job as a ref? Where you what fight did you work and you go, man, I did a great job there. That was my best performance.
You know, it's always been a. I remember refereeing Roberto Duran. I ran Barkley for the middleweight championship. That was a hell of a. That was my 39th world title fight, and then
Okay.
that was really amazing fight. Roberto Duran winning the middleweight championship against I ran Barkley. He was young. He had just finished knocking out Tommy Hearns, and Tommy Hearns had knocked out Roberto Duran. So people an opportunity. They didn't think Roberto Duran had it to beat Iran Barkley. But he ended up winning the middleweight championship. But that was just one of my great, fights. I referee, you know.
Uh, man, I'm not sure.
Leonard, I referee Camacho, I referee Trinidad. Um, they moved Eddie Murphy, I Spy.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I what I don't understand is like the oh,
Okay.
all right, there
Okay.
we go. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't know. I don't know if you're connected to Wi-Fi or if you're not. Maybe connecting it to it or disconnecting to the Wi-Fi may be better.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I better stay outside here.
Okay, right now it's perfect. All right,
Okay.
there we go. I know it's hot. It's hot in Vegas, so I appreciate you going outside for the sake of the interview. Uh,
All
uh,
right.
all right. You had mentioned earlier that you ref fights and judge them at the same time. What's your opinion in that of that? Should a referee just do the refing, or do you think him refing and him judging at the same time isn't a big deal?
Well, that was interesting. A lot of guys can't do that. You know, I'm multitask. I can do a lot of things simultaneously. Some people can't chew gum and walk at the same time.
I hear you. I
Yeah,
hear you.
but
Uh,
I was able to do that, and I was, for the safety of the fighter, they took the scoring away from us. They want us to just referee the fights, can be more concentrating more on the safety of the fighters. So that's what we did, and it was okay. So a lot of fighters didn't want to. They want to stop. They said, "Gee, we like judging and scoring at the same time, but if it's, they thought it was safety first, let's uh, let's watch out for the fighters." I said, "Okay, we do that."
okay. All right. Uh, uh, so you mentioned your best refereeing job was probably the Duran Barkley fight. Was there ever a fight you felt looking back like, man, I should have stopped that sooner, or man, that was a bad call I made?
You know,
What
you know,
fight?
you know. There's sometimes there's fights that you do, and you say you can't. I mean, I did close to 1,000 professional fights.
Hmm.
You can't come out 100% in anything you do in life. And of course, there's some fights I made some. I think I made some mistakes, or maybe I could have made a different call. But overall, in general, I'm inducted to 4 Hall of Fames. And you get inducted to 4 Hall of Fames, you get inducted because you must have been doing something good. People say, yo, Victor Ortiz got knocked out by Floyd Mayweather. Victor Ortiz, he was sucker punch. I said, well, you got to keep your guards up at all times. There's been fights that a fighter one time got hit while he was down, and he got hit with another punch. And people say, hey, Joe, you disqualified the other fighter. I said, well, the doctor said the fighter could continue. The doctor said you have to stop the fight. The rule says if a fighter gets hit while he's down, and the doctor tells me, Joe, I think a guy name was
Yeah,
Lorenzi.
yeah, he's Dominican. Francisco Lorenzo
Right,
when he fought Humberto Soto. Yeah.
right. So Francisco went down. And he got hit with a grazing punch behind the head. It might have not been hard, but he reacted to it, and the doctor said you have to stop the fight. And when the doctor tells me you got to stop the fight, I can't overrule the doctor. And the rule says, and the commission said, ask the doctor, you stopping him because he was taking a beating or because the punch behind the head? And the doctor said, no, it was a punch behind the head. Your referee got to stop it. So then I had no choice but to stop it. I got criticized for it because the rule said if you have to stop a fight because of a foul, and the doctor said it was the punch behind the head, and then it was a foul, and you have to then disqualify the fighter who committed the foul. And I did that, and I got criticized for that as well. But I said if I knew by disqualifying Humberto Soto, I was going to get criticized, but the doctor said you got to stop it, Joe. My hands were tied. I had no choice but to give the fight to Lorenzi by disqualification.
Uh, well, what did you ever have anybody pass away in a fight you refed?
I did one time when I first got to Las Vegas here, a fighter by the name of Robert Wangila. He got hurt in this fight. He was winning the fight, and I had to stop it in the 10th round because he was not on the canvas, but when I stopped it, he got hit up against the ropes. He had got dropped down earlier in that round. Then I got close to the action. When he got a couple of punches, I jumped in, I stopped it, and the fans were booing me. Why are you stopping the fight? And the fighter said, Joe, I'm okay. He only taken 2 punches, but his eyes rolled back when he took those 2 punches. And then the doctor checked him on the ring, and the doctor said, oh, he was okay. Everybody said he was okay. He said, Joe, man, you stopped my fight. I was okay. And then I remember even the commissioner said, Joe, not for nothing, but why did you stop the fight? I said, well, I saw he took some punches there, and I didn't like the way he looked when he took those 2 punches, the way he reacted. But he was, the doctor said he was okay. I said, yeah, I know, but I had no choice but to stop it. So they were booing me. I came out of the ring. They're booing me. Why? Why did you stop the fight, Joe? The fans were yelling at me. He was winning. Why did you stop it? 15 minutes later, they're running out of the dressing room to get the doctor. The fighter's having seizures back in the dressing room, Robbie Wangila. So they had to rush him to the hospital, and he was in there for a couple of days. But he would had the surgery for an induced coma, a blood clot in his brain. They had the surgery on him, and 2 days later he died. And the people were saying, "Oh my God, we were booing Joe Cortez, and Joe made the right call. He made the right call there, and we were booing him." And I said, "Well, the referee's closest to the action. And we see somebody hurt. I don't care if you're winning or what. I don't care if you're Hispanic. It made no difference. It could be my brother winning. I don't care. If you're gonna get hurt, I got to do my job and stop it. And that's what I did. I stopped the fight, and I got criticized for stopping it. And they said, Joe, you should have not stopped the fight. But look what happened at the end. But anyway, the family all thanked me. They said, Joe, thank you for stopping. You saw something we didn't see. Everybody was thanking me. Then a week later, they had me doing James Toney fight against Prince Arthur Williams on HBO. And they said, Joe, are you okay to do the fight? I said, well, the other fighter died last week, but you know what? I did my job. I said, I'm ready to go this week. So they let me do my next fight on HBO. And it was okay. And I didn't let that bother me because I know I did the right call. I did my job to the best of my ability.
Mhm. Okay. Was there ever a knockout like that worried you? Like
N-
where somebody got put to the floor, put to sleep, and you're like, "Whoa, I don't know if that guy's gonna make it." Whether the guy made it or not, was there ever a knockout that really worried you about the fighter?
No, not that I can recall of. I mean, I did over 1,000 professional fights. I don't recall. I mean, not I have anybody. I mean, I've seen fighters get knocked out, and I did many fights where fighters got knocked out. Even Larry Holmes, when he got knocked out by Mike Tyson,
Hmm.
he went down. I was saying, "Oh my, hope he's okay." But there was a one punch. I didn't even bother to count. I stopped it right there. As soon as he went down, Jerry Cooney, when he fought George Foreman, he went
Oh
down.
man.
As soon as he went down, I didn't even bother to count. I just waved it off. I just say, "I hope he's okay." He was all right, you know. But there've been so many fights that I refereed throughout the years where fights laying out. He said, "Oh my God, I hope he recuperates," and they did. The end. They came out of it. But that's our job as a referees to not let these fighters take unnecessary punishment. I treat fighters like if they're my children. I don't want them to get hurt. I want to come back another day.
What was the biggest fight you refereed?
Oh man, I don't know. There's been so many of them. I mean, I
It's
did
hard to pick
Julio,
one.
I refereed Julio Cesar Chavez 6 times. One of the big ones with him was against Oscar De La Hoya,
Hmm.
and another one with him was Julio Cesar Chavez and Pena Whitaker in at the Alamo Dome in Texas. And he got a draw that night. Like people thought that Chavez lost the fight. They thought Whitaker won. May
Yeah.
he rest in peace. He died about 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and not from boxing. He died. He got run over by a
Car
car.
in
He
a
got hit
car
by a
accident.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did so many fights. I mean, so many fighters. I've refereed Lennox Lewis several times. Um, George Foreman, when he knocked out Michael Moore for the heavyweight championship at
Hmm.
the age of 45. You know, Foreman was losing just about every round. He was not taking a pounding, but he was losing every round. In the 10th round, it was him that knocked out Michael Moore to become the heavyweight champion of the world at the age of 45. That was a punch heard around the world. That was a big fight
Yeah.
for for the boxing fan and
You
for
you
George Foreman.
you also did Riddick Bowe versus Holyfield
Correct, right.
number one. That
One
one
and
I
three.
wanted I wanted to ask you about the ref job there because there was a moment where they were fighting on the inside and you were kind of trying to break it, and then I think Evander landed a hard punch on Riddick and and then they just started brawling. You just kind of, all right, I was gonna break it up, but go ahead. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah, so that's that happens when you're going to go in and just break a clinch, but they're working out of it. It was a hell of a round, and I remember the 10th round in that particular fight. The 10th round, one of the best rounds in heavyweight history, according to the commentators and the reporters. That that 10th round was something else, where Evander Holyfield got hurt pretty bad, and he came back in that same round, and they just he was amazing. They both were hitting each other's. It was one of the best rounds in heavyweight history. And then for the second time, then Mills Lane was the referee for the second one, and that's with the fan man, a fan man
Yeah.
with a parachute came down into the ring as he just piled outdoor, and Riddick Bowe lost the title that night, so Holyfield regained the championship. And then they fought the third time. They called me in again to do the third fight. And again, Evander Holyfield lost the title again to Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe regained the heavyweight championship again.
Yeah.
But there were three great fights.
For sure, for sure. What like us fans when we see a great fight, we're excited, we're enjoying it. When you're refing a fight, are you so focused in on doing your job that you're not quite enjoying the fight, or are you just like us, like, man, what a great fight this is?
No, no, no. You can't really enjoy it because I'm there. I'm working. I'm there.
Okay.
My job is to watch out for the safety of the fighters and enforce the rules. And when it's all over, when the final bell rings, I say to myself, "Wow, what a fight that was!" But you can't really enjoy it. You know when I really enjoy when I come home and I put the replay on TV and I watch. I say, "Wow, man, wow, that was a hell of a round. That was a, good thing I made the right call there. Good thing I warned him for the low blow. Good thing I warned him about the headbutt. So many things happen. You can't really enjoy it when you're refereeing because you're working. You know. Even though I love refereeing, but uh, I can't say I'm enjoying that particular fight in itself because I'm actually putting my best to enforce the rules and to watch out for the safety of the fighter. But once it's all over, one thing I can say is when the final bell ring and they're both standing on their feet, I say, thank God nobody got hurt. You know,
Yeah.
that's probably one of the most rewarding parts of a fight when the final bell ring and nobody's hurt. Thank God. I don't care who wins, as long as nobody got hurt. That's what's important.
Okay, that's I can see how you that's a fulfilling moment because that means you did your job.
Yeah, yeah.
How, for the people watching, for the people who may be interested in becoming a referee, how is the pay as a referee when you get to the top? I know coming up the pay's not good, but when you get to doing these title fights, how's the pay?
The pay is not the greatest. I would say, yeah, I didn't make a living from boxing. That's not where I made my money. It was good. It's a good supplement besides your regular income. But I referees they want the best referee for the biggest fight, but they don't pay them or the judges. They don't get paid what they should be getting paid. I think the most I've ever heard of a referee get paid for one fight was $25,000, and that's nothing compared to the millions that these fighters are making. So I think that they demand a lot of a referee and the judges, but they don't compensate them the way they should. But it's okay. I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the love of the sport.
What did you do for a living then?
I did a couple of things. I used to own a delicatessen in New York, in Yonkers, New York. I was in the field of ophthalmology in the medical field for a number of years, and I've invested money in real estate. I did a couple of good things. Invested my money properly. I'm not crazy, throwing money away. I never did that. I'm not a gambler. You live in Las Vegas, it's good not to be a gambler if you live here. But I've always learned to invest my money properly and don't go crazy. And I would be humble and I would do the right thing for the people, and God will take care of you.
You also, when you will be given the instructions, you will always end it. I'm fair, but I'm firm. Where did you get that from, and what do you do with that slogan? How are you monetizing it? How are you figuring
Well,
it out?
well, what happened was I wasn't looking to monetize on it. I did it. Well, I was in an interview like we're doing today. The guy asked me, Joe, what does it take to be a good referee? To do, I said, well, you got to be fair with the fighters, but you have to be firm at the same time. So when I watched the interview later on, I say, you got to be fair, but you got to be firm. I said, I'm fair, but I'm firm. I said, you know what? Bill Lane got his, let's get it on. And Mike Buffalo, let's get ready to rumble. I said, I'm going to come up with my own. I'm fair, but I'm firm. You know? Words that people use every day are fair, and you got to be firm, but nobody put it the way I put it. And then you got so much worldwide exposure, millions of people watching do the fight. And I said, I'm fair, but I'm firm. People say, man, Joe, boy, that's a good catchphrase. We love it, the way you put it together. I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch him up. I said, that's it. I kept it. I had a trademark.
Yeah. What do you do with that trademark? Do you have T-shirts? Do you sell hats?
No, I never did that. Maybe one day I will. Like I said, I didn't do it for the money. I just did it just to do something a little different. But I didn't do it to capitalize on it.
Well,
That's never been my thing.
maybe me and you could talk off camera, and maybe I could help you out with that. All I need is like 20%, 25%. I'll help you make some money off that slogan.
Okay.
Uh,
All
um,
right.
I I, I, I want to talk about Mike Tyson. You've refed a few of his fights, but the two fights specifically I want you to talk about is the Marvis Frazier knockout. Like, that was probably his scariest knockout. Can you talk to me as a referee when you see somebody get lit up stiff, like it
Well,
looked like he got electrocuted? What's your reaction there as a
what
referee?
happened there was when they came into the ring, this fight took place in New Falls, New York.
Mhm.
That's upstate New York. And when they both came into the ring, and I came in there, and I got bumped together to give the instructions. I would give the instructions. I said, okay, guys, I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all time. I'm looking at Marvin's face. I'm giving the instructions, and Mike Tyson is staring him down, you know. And I look at Marvin's face, and I can see like his eyes. He was like kind of with fear already, yeah. he didn't want to look at Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson was staring him down. I said to myself, "Well, this guy." I said to myself, "He looks scared as hell, you know." But I will do my job. But let's see what happens when the bell rings. And my instruction was longer than the fight. It was 30 seconds of the first round. The fight was over. He caught the Marvis Frazier. He brought him into a quarter. Hit him with an uppercut. Hit him with an uppercut. That was a punch he didn't see coming. And Marvis Frazier just kind of like he went like he was out on his feet. Then I saw that he was out. I jumped in immediately and I pushed Mike Tyson away. And I started to count. And when I saw he was out, I said, I think I was the count of 3 or 4. I stopped counting right there. I waved it off. It
Yeah.
was a scary thing, but he recuperated real quick. And I would say, I'm glad he recuperated. That's one of the fights that I didn't want to see nobody get hurt. And he came out of it okay.
Mhm. What about Mike Tyson's knockout of Larry Holmes? Another one where he got put to sleep, where he was out cold. As soon as that left hook landed, can you talk to me about your reaction to that one?
Well, he called Larry Holmes. He had him wobble. He put him down one time. Then he got up. Then he was chasing him around the ring. And then next thing you know, I was saying, well, I would give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna see what happened. But then when Larry Holmes wanted to try to throw like an uppercut, he threw his arm up in the air, went around. When he went around with a uppercut, he got a glove caught on the ring rope, and that's when Mike Tyson caught him right there with one punch. He went down. I waved it off. I didn't even bother to count. He was on his back. I called the doctor right away, and they checked him out. He came out of it real quick. I remember one day after Atlantic City, I was sitting down, and somebody comes up to me. It was Larry Holmes. He said, "Hey, you remember me?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Maybe you remember me better laying down, right?" I said, "Hey, Larry, you're a great champion, Larry." As a matter of fact, he's a good guy, and he did good for boxing.
No,
I
for
remember
sure.
I had Joe Frazier and Bobby Frazier were here in Las Vegas. I had with Jimmy in my house. I had my own professional ring in my house, and not this house where I'm at now, but I still got the gym. I still got the house, and I got a professional boxing ring. And Joe Frazier was talking to some people. It was a fundraiser they were doing here in Vegas, and we was talking to the people, telling me, "Hey Joe, I got the best ring, the best gym." I said, "Hey, man, you want to see a real nice gym? Come over to my house." He said, "Really?" He said, "After this meeting is over here today, we got in. He got into the limo and they followed me to my house at Joe Frazier, and but he was in a wheelchair because he had back surgery, and his
Mhm.
son was pushing him, and they both went all through my house. When they got towards the end of the hallway, I took him into this door. The door opened up into my gym. And when they walked into my gym and they saw my gym, my ring, Joe Frazier said, "Oh man, wow, Joe, this is unbelievable." You know, I had a double M bag there. He started punching it while he was sitting down in the chair. And Marvis Frazier said, "Man, Joe, this is an amazing gym." I still got that gym. I use it for me to work out. You guys know, I got hit with COVID in 2020 real bad. I was hospitalized for 5 months. And
Wow.
I always kept my gym. I like to go there and work out. I had lost, I think it was 35 pounds when I got hit with COVID, but I refused to take the full count. I came back. My family, everybody supported me, gave me the willpower to come back, and I made it back after 5 months in the hospital. I came back and I still got a little spark of the old flesh. I still work out a little bit.
No, you look healthy, my man. You look healthy and strong. So, whatever you're doing, I need the secret.
Well,
uh,
the thing is, be positive, take care of yourself. Don't overeat, don't drink, don't smoke, no drugs. Do the right thing and believe in God, and uh, and be humble, and God will take care of you.
all right, I'll make note of that. I'll make note of that. You also ref a Pacquiao fight. The first fight where he really made his name was in that Ladabwa fight, where nobody knew who Pacquiao was. Nobody, and he just came out of nowhere and ran this guy down. I believe it was on an Oscar De La Hoya undercard. Do you remember refing that fight where he fought some African guy named Ladabwa?
Yeah, that was his first world title fight. He was 118 pounds at the time.
It,
That was here in Las Vegas. I refereed that fight, and I remember I said to myself, "Wow, this kid he got good talent." He was only 118 pounder for that fight, a bantamweight. And I remember I said that was the weight class I used to fight at. I would have had a tough time beating this young man. Bantamweight, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning. I said, this kid got talent. And literally, I would know that I would referee three of his fights, and they were major fights where he fought.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of, I actually wanted to touch base. This is my opinion. Your best refereeing job in your entire career. You've done a lot of good jobs. Your best refereeing job was Pacquiao versus Marquez 1, where Marquez gets dropped 3 times in the first round. You
correct.
could have easily stepped in after the third knockdown and stopped the fight and go, "Hey, man, you just got dropped 3 times." But you didn't. You gave him the full 8 count. He came up, he got up, and it ended up being a fantastic fight. I actually ended up thinking Marquez got robbed. It was a draw, but I thought Marquez won that fight. But man, what a great fight that was, and what a great job by you. Why didn't you stop that fight? Because at that moment, you had every right to stop it, and nobody would have complained.
Right. Well, being an ex-fighter and always being mentally prepared for a fight, and there was a rule that says the rule that back in the old days when I first started refereeing, three knockdowns in the same round, the fight is automatically over. You lose by technical knockout. You know, but in that particular fight, I knew that it was up to the discretion of the referee whether you stop the fight or not. And when Marcus went down the third time, he got hit with a punch, and as he went down, he got hit with a punch that grazed him a little bit. He
Mm-hmm.
kind of like looked at me like, "Hey, Joe." He kind of reacted. Hey, the guy hit me. My glove was just touching the canvas, and I looked at him like he was like, "Come on, Joe." He hit me again, and I said, "Wait a minute, this guy's reacted. He's not out yet." It was if that would have happened in the eighth, ninth, 10th round, I probably would have stopped it. But it happened in the first round. It was a flash knockdowns, and I said to myself, he's not ready. I saw something in his eyes, his reaction when he went down the third time. So I gave him the opportunity. I said, being that it was to my discretion, the first round, the guy wasn't really getting a pounding. He was just flash knockdown. I would let it continue. And I let it continue. And I remember when they fought the fourth time,
Mm-hmm.
Bar Iron, before the fight, Bar Iron, at a big interview that had Bar Iron, the promoter said, one thing you guys got to remember is that if Joe Cortez, the referee for that first fight, if Joe Cortez would have stopped the first fight, just like you just said, nobody would have said anything about Joe stopping it because he went down 3 times. But Joe saw something that nobody else saw. Joe let it continue. If Joe would have stopped that first fight, fight 2, 3, or 4 would have never occurred. So we got to thank Joe Cortez, by Rob said, for what he did that night. And one of my best performances as far as the public is concerned. But you know what? It could have been a bad call. If something would have happened to him seriously, by me letting it continue, they would have said, Joe, why didn't you stop it when he went down in the first round 3 times? So, I told referee, you gotta be careful. Don't try to copy me or what I did. If a guy goes down 3 times, but if it happens in the later rounds and the guy taking a pounding, don't try to do what I did because my thing happened in the first round. And you gotta look at it different. You gotta keep your eye. You gotta be focused, and you gotta be mentally prepared for what's gonna occur. That's a referee. You gotta be prepared for the unexpected, and that was unexpected. And I did what I did, and thank God everything worked out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this will be my last question, and then because you've been very gracious with your time and patient with the internet and all that, so I want to say thank you first for that. But what was that feeling like of getting inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame? What was that feeling like?
Well, let me tell you, when I got a call from Ed Brophy about 5 months before the induction, he called me and said, George, I'm just calling to let you know you've been nominated. You've been, your name been put out there. You possibly will know in December when we make the final count if you're going to be inducted or not. We'll let you know in December. So I said that was in June, around June when he called me. So I was waiting for December to come around. He said, we'll call you around the first weekend of December. So when December came around, I wasn't home that day when he called me Saturday. So then I said, oh, wow, man. I got a call. I got a missed call from Ed Brophy. So I told my daughter Sandy and my wife, she said, you know what? Hey, you know what? I got a call. Ed Brophy called me. He said he will call me I have forgotten that he said, in December they will call me to let me know. I wonder if he called to tell me, Joe, we're sorry, but you didn't make it this year, maybe another time. So I told my daughter, get a camera ready just in case, they're gonna say. And sure enough, I got on the phone and Sunday. I called that Brophy, and Mr. Brophy, Joe Cortez calling, returning your call. He said, Joe, you ready for this? And then my eyes opened up, my daughter, and I said, go ahead. What is it? And I was waiting. He said, Joe, congratulations, you've been inducted to the Hall of Fame. I choked up. I could talk. I was stunned. I couldn't believe it because I didn't kiss nobody's ass to try to get into the Hall of Fame. I didn't talk to. I didn't expect that coming. It just came. I said, wow, you know. And then on top of that, I was so happy. I was just delighted. My daughter was recorded on the phone, and she said, "I got it, Daddy. I got you recording." And I thought, oh, wow, that was an exciting moment. But one thing I'm proud of, though, I must say, I'm the first and only Latino as a referee to be inducted into the International Hall of Fame. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So
I'm the first and only up to this day of referees inducted into the Hall of Fame. They got fighters inducted, Latino fighters in the Hall of Fame, but the only Hispanic referee in the Hall of Fame is Joe Cortez, and I thank God for that.
no,
I'm
I'm
very,
glad it,
I'm humble and honored for that.
and I'm glad it's a New Yorker too, because I'm a New Yorker myself. So I'm glad it's a fellow New Yorker.
Well,
Eh,
I represent all the Latinos.
for sure.
When people ask me about that, I say I represent all the Latinos. I'm not just because I'm a Puerto Rican heritage. No, I represent all the Latinos. When I'm out there, I represent all the Hispanics out there worldwide. So I'm very proud to be Hispanic.
No, no, for sure, for sure. Well, and we're very proud to have you. And I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the interview. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I definitely enjoyed myself hearing your story. Anytime you want to come back, you got my number. You're more than welcome to call. We could come back. You could come back and we could just talk boxing. It don't necessarily got to be all about you. But I really enjoyed our conversation. Hopefully I'll have you back on one time.
Well, get ready for this weekend. In a couple of days, you got Canelo Alvarez by the uh, uh,
Charlo.
Charlo for the super welterweight championship. I believe 154.
No, super middleweight. Super
Super, I'm
middleweight.
sorry, 168, super middleweight. They
Hmm.
fight at 168, super middleweight. This coming Saturday will be a good fight. So hopefully the fans will get to watch the great because both fighters are great champions. And it's going to be a good one. I mean, Canelo Alvarez has been there for a while, but he's not as hungry as Charlo. But um, Canelo has a lot more experience. I think he has a little bit more punching power. It's going to be a good fight. It's not going to be easy for either one of them. It's going to be a fight
Who
that
you got winning?
may go a decision to the end, but it's going to be a war for both sides. I hope you fans enjoy it. I'm sure I will.
Who you got winning? Who you got winning?
I got winning. The best man going to win the fight. Take care,
All
guys.
right.
Love you guys. A
Thank you so
pleasure.
much, Joe.
Take care. Have a good. I still think like a referee, so it's hard for me to pick sides.
So you don't never root for a fighter like when you watching the
Nah,
fights.
as a referee, I never root for anybody. I try to be neutral. That's where I want to be all the time. Even
You're
to
retired now though.
I know, but I still think the same way. I still think like an official. It's hard for me to pick sides.
I got you. I got you. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Again, you're welcome to come back anytime you want. If you want to promote anything, a website, or anything, or an event you got coming up, anything you want to promote before we go out?
No, just watch my show. I do my podcast talk show on the Joe Cortez show. I do. I had on yesterday. I had the sister of this fellow by the name of he fought Julian Jackson. He knocked Julian Jackson out twice. He ended up in a wheelchair himself right now. His sister had me. She wanted to talk to me about a brother, um, Gerald McClellan. Gerald McClellan got knocked out in 1995. He got stopped by um,
Nigel Ben.
Nigel Bennett, yeah, and he never ended up the same. So I had her on my show. We did a show Monday, this past Monday, because this coming Friday, I'm going to be in Atlantic City. I'm going to be for the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. I'm going to support my colleague Benji Sevis, who's going to be one of the inductees, and all the rest of the inductees. I want to be there for them. So I'm going up there this weekend in Atlantic City, and
Okay.
then I'll be back. But I will talk to you guys in the very near future.
Yeah. Listen, I want to be a guest on your show. You can interview me. We can switch roles. I'm the voice of Dominican boxing, so you can ask me about that. I didn't interviewing me as much as I was interested in interviewing you.
Well, it'll be a pleasure to get you on the show one day to talk about your career, how you got started commentating. And I mean, it got to be in your blood. I mean, when they check my blood, my DNA, it's boxing in my DNA.
For sure. All right. Thank you so much, Joe.
Take care, buddy. God bless.
All right.
Y,
All right, guys.
y saludos a los latinos que estaban ahí tratando de escuchar mi en inglés. Yo también hablo un poco de español, me defiendo bastante en el español y quiero desearles buena salud y recuerdos a todos. Que Dios los bendiga a todos.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on the show and watching it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed interviewing me interviewing this guy and Joe Cortez, legend. I really enjoyed it. He gave me good energy. He answered every question I asked. No comment. I mean, the only thing he gave me was, I'm just rooting for whoever's the best man. Let the best man win. But he explained, hey, man, deep down inside, he's still an official. He's still a referee and has to call it down the line. But all right, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. If you guys want a Dominican boxing shirt, go to BroadwayJoel.com. Hit that, go cop a shirt. Definitely. They flying off the shelves. So definitely go buy a shirt. Go support me. And I will be going live most likely again on Friday around 12. I have a new show coming up with me and a co-host. Y'all may know him, So Friday at 12 o'clock most likely is when we're going to go live. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, guys. Peace.